Well, you've had a month to reset and kind of get going again. How have you found this last month with no football being involved?
It's been very, very busy. I would say this year is a little bit similar to when I first arrived, in that we've probably got more recruitment to do than we had last year. I think last year the only permanent signing we made before the start of the season was Josh Stunton. The rest was a bucket load of loans. So we've got to do more work this year, and it's with the four boys leaving for retirement and coming out of full-time football. It's a chance for us to kind of reinvent ourselves again. Which, when you finish fourth in 1 year, there's pretty strong evidence to suggest that you need to keep the players that finish fourth, because they've obviously the process is working. When you finish 16th, it's completely the other way. We've got to do something about it. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy time, which isn't a problem. I enjoy that part of the trading process, but you take the emotion of games out of the situation. You take the fact that I was able to have a kind of a week or two break away from coming into the football club, help clear our heads, especially after Lee. I think that helped as well. So no, it's been a very busy time, but I've really enjoyed it. I love trading. I call it trading, but I love trading blows with agents and players. It's good fun.
Well, the recruitment drive is well underway. We'll start with Morgan Williams, as he was the first transfer announced. A player you know really well. Yeah,
I think our whole thing around Morgan was Morgan's played 6 games in his whole career, professionally in senior football. So, and there's only one club and manager that given him those 6 games. So it wasn't hard to convince Morgan that he had nowhere else to go apart from here. But he's got a quality that obviously we've used when he's coming in on loan, but we wanted to add that quality to our defence in speed. And we know Hunt is a physical beast. We know Wilkinson is as good as they're coming in this league and above. And we just wanted that different one, that quick one. But the other thing that Morgan's very good at that people probably wouldn't know is that he's a brilliant talker, a very good communicator, and he loves it here. He's committed to the club. He's committed for a good period of time. He's moving, his family here, which is great. So he wants to be in the southwest, which is was a big thing for us. And now I'm really pleased to carry on our work with him. He had a bit of a disaster last year, like most players who played for us, in terms of injury. But no, good player, young, hungry. We definitely know that our supporters wanted or were yearning for that kind of young, hungry team. I'd like to think we're starting to produce that with the Bradleys and the Knowles and Hunt, still a young player. So. I think we heard that loud and clear, and we're trying to give the paying spectator what they want.
Another young player came through the door in Charlie Wakefield. What can the fans expect from him?
Charlie's a different one. Charlie's a bit of an unknown in that he had a brilliant background at Chelsea. I actually signed him on loan at Stevenage, but he didn't play. He was going through a particularly difficult time with his hamstrings. When players sometimes at the top end of that development process and they physically start going into adolescence, there can be some physical complications around that. And Charlie was definitely going through that. But now at the age that he's at, he's a 6'1". He's a wonderful athlete, very, very good athlete. And it's one of those with Charlie, and I've become quite accomplished in my career with taking players that are that need that kind of new start, that new lease of life, a new opportunity, a new environment, a new voice, and trying to get them kicking again, because he has been at the biggest and best youth academy in probably European football. Always constantly competing for the European Cup at development stages at Chelsea. So if it can work, great. Charlie's got to put in an awful lot of work. He's got to change an awful lot about his game if he's going to play for us. We know he knows this. I've set those conditions out abruptly to him, and if he can embrace, like Tom Knowles has done, the mentality of we all run and we all kick and we all tackle and we all compete, then Charlie will be a good asset for us.
There'll be a new man between the sticks next season in Grant Smith. What was the thought process behind getting him in?
Well, I think he kept 10 out of 16 clean sheets in his games for Chesterfield. I think that evidence is pretty strong that he was doing quite well. And when he played against us, I think he made 2 of the goals from goal kicks. Believe it or not, embarrassing. But good kicker. Nice left foot, lovely left foot. For someone of 6'1", comes for a lot of aerial duels. Very competent at that, very confident. And I like goalkeepers who don't always get it right, but there are goalkeepers, that don't come and they don't get that right when they should have come. So I much prefer that trait of front foot, ready to engage, same mentality. We all run, we all compete. But a very, very good goalkeeper, very underrated. Again, another one, wants to live in the area. He's moving to the southwest. So he should be nice and settled. He's at a great age now. He's got a lot of games behind him for a 27-year-old. And again, he drove the desire to want to be at the football club. So absolutely no-brainer, good distribution, good goalkeeper. And I think when we talk about goalies, I hate it when coaches talk about good shot stopper. If he wasn't a good shot stopper, he wouldn't be a goalkeeper. So I look at things in the goalkeeping department that are maybe the alternative attributes. Definitely coming for crosses is a big one for us, and his distribution, because we want to play out the back. We'd rather play out the back. But we also know that in Joe Quigley and Ruben Reid, we've got 2 forwards who can take the ball over long distances, and we need someone who's going to be comfortable serving them in that sense. So really, really pleased with Grant. Really pleased. It was a really good signing for us. The deal was excellent. And again, I do like the fact that he's moving to the area.
You spoke about kind of the experience we are losing, the likes of Charlie Lee. Someone else coming in with a lot of experience is Mark Little. How big a signing is that for us?
I was shocked when I was phoned. And then when I spoke with Charlie Lee, one of his teammates from a previous club, Charlie was shocked that he'd phoned. and yes, and again, Mark's driving it. Mark's driving the decision. Mark's drove the process. Brilliant people to deal with. I must say, agents get a lot of stick. Mark's agent was magnificent. Good guy, very, very sensible, very reasonable. And listen, it's a brilliant signing for us. This is a lad who's not even played in League Two. This is a League One Championship fullback. Everyone I've spoke to has told me brilliant character, good talker. I like it that he's, we're almost trying to reinvent a different style of footballer to Carl Dickinson, but that age, that experience, that level that they've played at, they have a standard to their work. They understand the things you have to do in order to get promoted, and Mark covers all those boxes. It's a lot of character that comes in. Same with Grant Smith, brilliant talker. Morgan Williams, brilliant talker. There's a theme, I know, but it's such an important part. And we were very quiet last year because of our age and inexperience. So I think, listen, Mark's a coup for the football club. It's going to be an important to manage him intelligently, physically. But no, brilliant signing. Again, doesn't live a million miles away, fairly close to the area. And he makes, the real truth in it is that he makes me feel far more comfortable with having people of that ability level and that experience around the dressing room, because You know, losing Charlie, losing Carl and Chris Dagnall and Jimmy Smith and Lee Collins, huge characters. And we had to try and reinvent that. It won't be the same, because it never is, because they're different people. But having that experience and that quality to mark what he brings, it'd be fantastic. A good one for Alex Bradley to fight with over that position. Lots and lots of pluses to having Mark Little, definitely.
You've got your first choice left back in through the door now in Jordan Barnett. How pleased are you to get him?
Yeah, I think Jordan is a little bit similar to Wakefield in that needs a platform. Really impressed when he played against us home and away this year. Obviously, he scored the terrific goal against us. But I liked him when I met him. Different, a typical Yorkshireman, straight to the point. But all of the references that I got from teammates that he played with, coaches, tough, tenacious, not afraid to speak his opinion. And they get 21 years old, you know, this demand and desire for a young, hungry team. He fits that. He's got lovely technical ability. I still think there's probably another player maybe to come in and around that position. I think Jordan would probably need some support around that over the 46 games. Because it's very hard for young players to just do 46 games. They have to build into it, almost build the seasons into their legs. You know, so we're in the same way that Knowles has built his way into it. You know, 26 games this year. Next year, I expect him to play 40. And it's very hard just for young players just to play a full season in one go. You look at the historical examples of that, of when Ryan Giggs came onto the scene, how Ferguson managed him. He came in, he came out, and it's the same process. And I think Jordan will be like that, but. There's something about Jordan, there's a feel, I just get a feeling, an anticipation around him that he could be a real big player for us. And probably just needs someone to give him some belief. You know, when I watch parts of his game, he's really tenacious, he should get closer to people because he's a good athlete, he's a good runner, he's sharp. But his technical ability was, you know, we went from having a team that could cross from anywhere, any position in year one, to a team that couldn't cross from anywhere in year two. And when you've got players like Ruben thrives on crosses. When you've got players like Joe Quigley, they thrive on crosses. So we have to be a better team in that final third in terms of production. Because Knowles is not an authentic, you know, a stereotypical winger that goes on the outside and just crosses the ball. He's more of a, I've got you one-on-one, how quickly can I get a shot off type attacking player. So, you know, I thought it was important that there's having width, but there's also having that width in the team that can deliver. So it was a good one for us, Jordan. He can play left midfield and left wing back, and just gives us some options. But again, fits that kind of young and hungry type.
You mentioned Jordan may need some support. Can we expect a few more additions into the team?
Yeah, I think that leaves us maybe with 14 or 15. So I think we definitely need 3 or 4 more. I don't know how they come, whether they come as permanent signings or whether they come as loans. There's so many. Like I said, this is the hardest I've worked since I've been here in terms of recruitment. I want to get this right. I want to make sure that we learn from 100,000 mistakes of last year. We're also recruiting sports scientists, and physiotherapy, and to try and relieve some of the injury problems. And I look back at the amount of moaning I did on injuries last year and not having this player, not having that player, and I think I talked us into maybe all those injuries, bless him. But you know, it's something that we need to, that mentality, that way of thinking about the day-to-day life. We definitely have to readdress. So it's nothing uncommon. I've had to do it many a time in my career, and you know, it's a nice to have a fresh start, a clean slate, and you know, we go again.
Looking back on last season, obviously there are situations that were unimaginable, but if you kind of think the learning process of the season, is there steps we're taking now to kind of get right back on track?
Well, look, again, I thought the connection between the team and the supporters was outstanding again, even though they weren't here. You know, the way they supported, you know, the players and myself and Terry through that really difficult period in particular. was very kind, very generous, very empathetic. So that was one positive. I would have thought that, the connection, I feel stronger, even stronger than maybe year one, which was, when we brought up a great rapport. But I thought, we have to come away from, and when I say we, it's me, not anyone else, have to come away from, he's injured, he's suspended, he's this, he's that, we haven't got this, we don't spend that. We've got to come away from that mentality. Whatever we've got, we're going to spend as well as we can. Whatever player we can sign, we're going to use him as maximally and optimally as we possibly can. And if we don't get a decision by a referee, I'm still going to moan. But all of those things, and when I look back, and it must have been so boring to listen to. And I used to be fun and enthused, and all I did was moan. So that has to change from the top down. And that's me. I'm at the very top, and that has to change. So it gives us a new chance. It gives us a fresh slate. I want to win. I come in to win. Go back to what we said about Lee. Both of us came here to win, and that's what we intend to do. And the signings, we're going to try and develop as well as we can. We developed a really great team in year one on very, very little, and we're doing that again this year. And it's an exciting challenge, and I'm excited by the challenge. Listen, if different things go different ways, then we'll definitely be there or thereabouts. But the signings we've done already, a little bit of experience, a little bit of character, a little bit of youthful opportunity. It should be very interesting, and we have to get back to that win at all costs mentality. I look back in year one, every pre-season game was like a cup final. There was no women and I, it weren't 45 minutes here, 60. So it was, no, we're playing this game properly. So we've extended pre-season. We've given ourselves a little bit more time before the very first game. Last year we did 7 days training, played a game. It's the first time I've done that in 20 years. No idea why I did it. Looking back, horrendous. Nowhere near ready when we went out to play Stratford. We were a shamble of that other 4-letter word. We were awful. So this year we'll be ready. We do 2.5 weeks before we play our first game, and then we play our games in a methodical fashion. We don't play loads for the sake of it because we don't have enough. We won't have 22 players, and some people have got to be ready to hit the ground running with 90-minute games straight away. Tough. That's what winning's like. Winning's hard. Winning hurts. Winning's difficult. And the players and I have got to get back to that all or nothing mentality, where every game is seen in the same way. It is a desperation to win that game. And we came away from that. We definitely came away from that for lots and lots of reasons. My fault, some other people's fault, but that's irrelevant. I'm at the top, so people have got to point their finger at me. And I think once we embrace that again, I think we'll have a hell of a chance.
You must be looking forward to working with that blank slate when pre-season gets underway. What are
blank slate or clean slate?
Clean slate, whatever you want. How much are you looking forward to kind of working with them and kind of getting pre-season properly underway?
Well, it's that excitement of, like when we come back to Jordan Barnett, just get a feeling with Jordan that there's something really special there. That if we can just believe in, give it the support it needs. He's definitely need another player in that position to cover the aggregate over the year. But if we can just give him that platform, get the coaching right with him, get the management right with him, all of the bits around him, get them absolutely as best we can, you just get an anticipation. So for me as the coach, I get an anticipation that, what is it going to be like to work with them? Because within a week, you pretty much know, what you got and whether it's good or whether it's bad. And then you start playing that first game, and that first game is going to be eye-opening for everyone. I love that game against Stratford. This is the third year in a row that we're playing it as our first game. I love going to the ground. I like the people there. And we've got to make sure that we start those games as if our league season is starting. And we're not rolling into the first game in a shabby or a shaggy sort of makeup or strategy, that we're fixed, we know exactly what we're doing, we know the fitness levels of the players are as high as possible, and we're as organised to go out and play. Because the teams over the last 2 years, this team isn't going to look like that, because they're not the same players. So the team's going to look really different, and we have to be open-minded for the pre-season period while we're learning about people and their qualities. But I think that kind of that anticipation around those types of formulas or those methods makes it exciting. So I'm excited to see if Wakefield can rediscover his Chelsea form. I'm excited to see whether Knowles can carry on where he left off. Some of the senior players have been in twice a week for the last 3 weeks. Ruben Reid looks fit, strong. Wilkinson's looking fit and strong. Staunton looks like a completely different human being. Still bald, but he a completely different athlete in terms of his body shape. So all of these things add up to being quite exciting to see what more we can do with them, and how better we can manage them, and how better we can use them as a resource to win us games. And again, when it comes back to that, it does become quite exciting.
You spoke about Josh Staunton then. Does he actually somewhat feel like a new signing
it's absolutely
anyway?
A new player. We had Josh and Wilkinson for 24 games last year, and if they had the capability, both of them, to play in a 42-game season at the very start. So out of 84 games, we had them for 24. It's a quarter of the game time. So, having Josh back out there and the way we can use him this year and what he brings to us, he's a really honourable guy. He almost brings honour to the team, because everything he does, Josh, is with integrity and for the best of someone else. He's a very, very sacrificial, selfless individual. And I saw that at times last year when he got injections to play and he played injured, and to the point where he really put himself in harm's way. And having those qualities as a nucleus of your squad are really important. And we forget, because he looks 39 years old, that he's 25. He's coming up to the prime of his career. He's playing for a good club, a big club, and he knows he's got to really, really turn up this year. And like I said, what I like about Josh is that he carries an honour about him, a really lovely kind of humility and integrity, that everything I'm doing is for the good of someone else. I'm going to make you better by being this for you. I'm going to make that better by being that version for you. And I think that's an incredible human quality to have in the middle of your team. So I'm looking forward to using Josh. I see him as a midfield player right here, right now, but we know he's got all of those Charlie Lee type qualities to go wherever he needs to play, and they do it without a blink of an eye. Charlie didn't do it with a blink of an eye. Charlie did it after an argument, a full-scale argument and fight. But Josh has that discipline in his mind to really sort of be able to change and adapt. So he's absolutely a new player, 100%. We haven't seen anything from Josh Staunton that I know he's capable of doing, and having him this year, he's a big player for us. I thought in year one, I thought he was as good a player as there was in the division, and I still think he has that quality within him now, and it'll be a pleasant surprise to be able to use those.
There's some good news coming out of the club recently with Terry Skiver completing his coaching badges. How much do you enjoy working with him?
No, it's great. We've got a very good relationship. People don't see it. It's quite a prickly relationship. It's not tell I've got an idea, I think we should do this. Yes, Gaffer. It's not like that. It's I don't agree. Oh really? What don't you agree about? I don't agree about that and that and that. And I go, well, when you're the manager again, you can make the decision. But no, he's brilliant to work with. Very, very good coach. I think when players have been a certain type of player in their career, and Terry was that very sort of chest thumping central defender. I'll head through anyone. I'll run through anyone. I'll kick anything. I think there becomes a kind of a stereotype that they're that as a coach, and it's the exact opposite with Terry. He's a very, very, very good coach. I'm not saying he's a very bad player, by the way. He's listening to this now, but he's a very good coach. He's very, very organised, very detailed, and he helps me because he brings a level of organisation to my chaotic world, and I'm very much a people person. I like working with people. I like sitting down and having really awkward conversations. I like building confidence. And Terry brings an organisation and a mechanic to our working day, and without him turning in a certain way, my cog can't turn, and the machine breaks. So he's a huge part. And remember, Terry and I were an accident. Really, we didn't ever foresee that Terry was going to be in this position over 3 years, and that he would be with me all the time. And but like an unwanted guest in your house, he turned up and never left. But no, brilliant guy. Again, I think our supporters should be so proud of his achievements. To be a UEFA Pro licensed coach is some achievement, and he's done it all while serving one club. How many people can say that? How many times have we seen disloyalty and and a lack of patience and perseverance in people? No one can ever point that at Terry. So I just really hope, my ambitions are that we can win a trophy, and we can replace some of his 5,000 pictures that he's got around the ground that are 30 foot high with a big picture of me and Wilco or Ruben or someone else other than him, and Sam Foley or Channing McAllister or something like that. So, but no, great, very, very good. Love working with him. I'd like to think that we will work for a long time to come. Hopefully here. But we know that this year is hugely important.
Earlier you spoke about that connection with the fans. How much will they miss, and how much of kind of a boost will they be if they hopefully are allowed back into the grounds again this season?
Well, I think on the last game, I know it was very emotional, the last game with Amelia and Layla and Charlie May and the family, but the fact that those supporters stayed out there so long, clapping, players and staff stayed out there as long as they did. I don't know if this got caught, but as soon as the whistle went in that last game, shook Simon Russey's hand and Terry and the other staff, and I just walked straight for the stand and just started walking around. I must have stayed in front of that goal for a good 20 minutes. I loved it, and we've really missed it. And football hasn't been the same. And even though we had we did have a pretty decent home form in 2021, it didn't feel like it. It just doesn't feel like it. And the first game I enjoyed this year was Maidenhead at home. That was the first game with supporters, and I thought, it just isn't football. It's not. It's just not football. And we hope we get to a point where we can warrant 3,000 and 4,000 being back in the ground that want to come. That we can guarantee them a certain effort level and quality of football that makes people want to come back into the ground and support us, and we can develop that relationship again, because we got to develop it again, because it's new people again. The fans are the same, but the players are new, and we've got to ensure that we connect all of those new players with our supporters in the same way Carl Dickinson connected and Craig Alcott connected, and all of those, Charlie Lees, Jimmy Smiths. And I think it's important that we try and do lots of things when the COVID restrictions are lifted, to try and bring us closer together. I remember in year one we had like an open day, and I got to meet everyone before the first Stratford game. Something like that, where we bring everyone closer together without infecting each other. That would be nice, but it would be those things are important to me, and they're important to the players, because you never realise how important they are until you need them the most, and we needed them this year. We needed a spike at times, and unfortunately they weren't allowed to be here. So having them here is huge for us. It's huge, and it just makes football so much more. When we came out of the first lockdown, going back to work was a relief. And you thought, okay, at least I can go to work. At least I'm not, quarantined and things like that, or told to stay at home. But actually, when we got back to work, it just wasn't right. So all we want now is fans. We're back at work. We know we're probably not going to go into another lockdown, but all we want now is the supporters to be with us and travel to Aldershot again and recreate those moments, and Solihull, and because without them, from my point of view, it just hasn't been fun at all. Take away all of the other things that we've gone through this year. Not having supporters has been very, very uneventful and very unenjoyable. So the quicker we rebuild the club, and I think they had 6,000 here against Torquay on Boxing Day the first year, or 5,000 or something like that. As soon as we can get those types of occasions back at the ground, that's something I'm really looking forward to.
I think that's a lovely place to end it. Thank you for your time, Gaffer.
Thank you.